I found the wallet on a cold Tuesday evening while I was taking the bus home from work. It was lying under the seat in front of me, half hidden beside a black backpack that did not belong to anyone nearby. At first, I thought the wallet had fallen from the bag, but when the bus reached the next stop, the owner of the backpack picked it up and left without noticing the wallet. I waited for a few seconds before reaching down. It was a dark brown leather wallet, old but well cared for. One corner was worn and there was a small scratch across the front. I looked around the bus, hoping someone would return and look for it, but no one seemed worried. There were only 6 passengers left. An older woman was looking out the window, 2 students were talking quietly, and a man near the back was sleeping. None of them seemed to belong to the wallet. I picked it up and held it for a moment. I knew I should give it to the driver, but the bus was moving and the driver was busy. I decided to wait until the next stop. Then I noticed that the wallet was slightly open. I did not want to look inside because it felt private. At the same time, I thought there might be a name or contact card that could help me return it. I told myself I would only check for identification. Inside, there was a large amount of cash. I did not count it, but there were several bills folded together. There were also 2 bank cards, an old library card, and a small family photo. The photo showed a man, a woman, and a young girl standing in front of a white house. The man in the picture looked serious, but the woman and the girl were smiling. On the back, someone had written a date from more than 10 years earlier. There was no driver's license. I checked the other side of the wallet and found a folded piece of paper. The paper was old and had been opened many times. It contained a short address, a time, and one strange sentence. The sentence explained that if the wallet was ever found, the finder should go to the address before 6 in the evening. I looked at the time on my phone. It was 5:12. The address was not far from the bus route. I had no idea what it meant, or why someone would keep such a note in a wallet. I also did not know whether following it was a good idea. My first thought was to give the wallet to the bus driver. That seemed like the safest choice. Still, the note felt important. The words were simple, but they sounded urgent, almost like instructions meant for an emergency. I looked at the family photo again. I wondered whether the wallet belonged to the man in the picture. He would be older now, perhaps in his 50s. The wallet could also belong to someone else in the family. When the bus reached the next stop, I walked to the front and gave the driver a quick explanation. I told him I had found a wallet and asked what usually happened to lost items. He explained that lost property was taken to the bus company office at the end of the day. People could call later to ask about it. That was the normal process. It was also probably the right process. However, the office was far from the address on the note, and it would not receive the wallet until after 6. If the note was serious, the owner might be waiting somewhere. I asked the driver if I could take the wallet and try to return it myself. He looked uncertain, so I showed him the note and gave him my name and phone number. I also took a photo of the wallet and the bus number. I wanted there to be a record that I had found it. Then I got off the bus. The address was about 15 minutes away on foot. As I walked, I kept thinking that I might be making a mistake. The wallet contained enough money to cause trouble. If the owner later said money was missing, I might not be able to prove that I had told the truth. I considered going directly to the police station, but the nearest station was in the opposite direction. The note continued to pull my attention back to the address. I decided to find the place first. If anything seemed unsafe or strange, I would leave and take the wallet to the police. The address led me to a quiet street with small houses and old trees. Most of the homes looked empty during the day because the people living there were probably still at work. Near the end of the street, I found the number from the note. It was not a house. It was a small repair shop. The sign above the door was faded, and the windows were covered with dust. Inside, I could see shelves filled with clocks, radios, and old cameras. A light was on near the back, but the front door was locked. I checked the time. It was 5:39. I knock on the glass. No one came. I waited and knocked again. After a minute, an elderly man appeared from behind a curtain. He walked slowly to the door and looked at me with suspicion. I held up the wallet so he could see it. His expression changed immediately. He opened the door and invited me inside. The shop smelled like wood, oil, and old paper. The elderly man took the wallet carefully, but did not open it at once. Instead, he looked at the scratch on the front and the worn corner. I explained that I had found the wallet on the bus. I told him which route I had taken and where I had found it. I also told him that I had looked inside only to find a name or address. He listened closely. Then he explained that the wallet did not belong to him. It belonged to his son, Daniel. The family photo showed Daniel, his wife, and their daughter. The girl in the photo was now a university student. Daniel's wife had died several years earlier, and since then, Daniel had lived alone. The strange note had been written by the elderly man. Many years ago, Daniel often forgot important things because he worked long hours and slept very little. His father had placed the note inside the wallet as a joke. The address was the repair shop, and the time was the hour when the shop usually closed. Over time, the joke became a family habit. Daniel never removed the note. The elderly man looked worried because Daniel had not visited the shop for several weeks. They had disagreed about something and had stopped speaking. The father had wanted to call, but pride had kept him quiet. Finding the wallet changed the situation. The elderly man tried to call Daniel, but there was no answer. He then called his granddaughter. She explained that Daniel had been using the bus that evening because his car was being repaired. She also said he had been worried about losing something important. The wallet did not only contain money and cards. One of the cash bills was folded around a small key. I had not noticed it when I first looked inside. The key belonged to a safe deposit box. The family kept important documents there, including papers related to the house in the old photo. Daniel had planned to visit the bank the next morning. Losing the key would have caused a serious problem. The elderly man counted the money and checked the cards. Everything was still there. I felt relieved. I had worried that opening the wallet might make me look dishonest. But I had told the truth from the beginning. I had not taken anything, and I had only looked inside because I wanted to find the owner. About 20 minutes later, Daniel arrived at the shop. I recognized him from the photo, although he was older and looked more tired. He had spent the last hour calling the bus company and searching the streets near the stop. When he saw the wallet, his face showed both relief and embarrassment. I explained again where I had found it and why I had followed the note. Daniel checked everything carefully. He found the key, the bank cards, the photo, and the money. Nothing was missing. He tried to give me some of the cash as a reward, but I did not accept it. I had only wanted to return it. Keeping the money would have made the situation feel different. Daniel seemed surprised by my decision. He had believed that if someone found the wallet, the money would probably disappear. I understood why he felt that way. Many people might have taken the cash and thrown the wallet away. No one on the bus had seen me pick it up. I could have kept it, and no one would have known. But I would have known. That was the part that mattered most. I had to ask myself whether I wanted to do what was easy or do the right thing. Returning the wallet required time, effort, and some risk. Keeping it would have solved none of my real problems. It would only have created guilt. While I was at the shop, I noticed something else. Daniel and his father had begun talking again. At first, their words were careful and formal. Then the granddaughter joined the call, and the room slowly felt warmer. I did not know the full reason for their disagreement, and it was not my place to ask. Still, it was clear that the lost wallet had brought them together in a way they had not expected. The family photo also seemed to change the mood. Daniel's father held it for a long time. The picture reminded them of a period when the family had been happy and close. Before I left, Daniel took my phone number. He said he wanted to thank me properly later, but I still did not expect anything. I walked home from the repair shop instead of returning to the bus stop. The night was cold, but I felt calm. I kept thinking about how a small decision had led me into a stranger's family story. The next morning, Daniel sent me a message. He explained that he and his father had spoken for several hours after I left. They had agreed to meet again that weekend and try to repair their relationship. He also told me that the wallet had belonged to his late wife before she gave it to him as a birthday gift. That was why it looked old but well cared for. The family photo was the last picture they had taken together before she became ill. Suddenly I understood why losing the wallet had frightened him so much. The money and cards were important, but the photo and the memories could not be replaced. A week later, a small package arrived at my apartment. Inside was a simple leather card holder made by Daniel's father in the repair shop. There was also a note explaining that honesty could not always be paid for, but it should never be forgotten. I still use that card holder today. The experience changed the way I think about lost things. Before that evening, a wallet was only a place for money and cards. After looking inside that one, I understood that ordinary objects can carry pieces of someone's life. A photo can belong to a memory. A note can belong to a family joke. A small key can belong to an important plan. Even an old scratch can belong to a story. I also learned that doing the right thing is not always simple. Sometimes it requires a decision without knowing the result. Sometimes it means looking for someone when it would be easier to walk away. Sometimes it means telling the truth even when the situation could make you look suspicious. When I found the wallet on the bus, I only wanted to return it to its owner. I did not expect to enter an old repair shop, meet a worried father, or help two people speak again. I did not solve every problem in their family. I only carried one lost object to the right place. But sometimes one honest action is enough to open a door. Sometimes returning what does not belong to us can return something else, too. In this case, it returned a wallet, a memory, and perhaps the beginning of a family relationship that had almost been lost.